in all communications. We're located in Covington. Everyone's working from home now, obviously, but we do everything from digital media, marketing, social media, media relations, kind of a full service public relations firm.
Okay, next on my screen is Jamie.
I am Jamie Glavic. I also work at Scooter Media, so all those things he said that we do. And I'm a digital supervisor, so my primary area of specialty and responsibility is digital marketing and social media.
And you all are, and Dot are kind of my experts that we had plans, but is there anything you wanted out of this? Zach or Jamie?
I mean, for us, it's really just a chance to connect. I mean, when Zach said this was an opportunity to have an informal conversation, I was like, oh, that's so wonderful, because we've given so many presentations and they're great. We enjoy giving presentations, but Zoom webinar presentations, you can get a little fatigued with that. So just being able to be a little more relaxed and have that kind of setting, I was looking forward to that.
Great, great. Glad to have you. Then Dot.
Hi, I'm dcrane. I'm the content manager at Meet NKY, which is our Northern Kentucky Convention and Visitors Bureau, which means I'm also the content manager for the Beeline, our local bourbon trail. I am the social media community manager. I create and edit all the content for all our social channels. I create and edit all the blog content for our blogs, and I run all our social advertising, our Facebook and Pinterest advertising. That's pretty much me.
Overwhelming. All right, then Jill.
I'm Jill Morenz with the Catalytic Fund. We're at River Center, and I'm in the lobby right now, which is why I have the mask on. And I do community initiatives and communications. So I do a lot of public art stuff, and I do all our Beyond the Curb tours and our Beyond the Curb video series that we have right now. Things like that. We have a scavenger hunt that I created for Thanksgiving weekend, and we have a couple of websites that have to do with art, public art, and then communications. I do, whatever communications need to be done. I do our social media, except, luckily we have pretty low threshold for that. I have to do one Facebook post a week, and then my my social media for Beyond the Curb and for the public art stuff is just kind of as needed, which is not a really great attitude, but that's where it is right now. It's not my goal, but that's where it is right now. So.
And the bourbon barrels around town.
The bourbon barrels, yep. Picnic tables, yep.
Cool stuff.
Yeah, lots of fun stuff.
Kaylin? Well, I guess, you already went. Is there anything you wanted out of this, Kaylin and Jill? Let's see. Let's go back to Jill for a second. Jill, did you have any needs?
I do have a question about how to convert social media followers into paying customers, especially Instagram.
Yeah, that's and we do all this stuff, and how do we get some return on it?
Right.
Yeah, I'd love it. Okay. Kaylin, did you have anything you wanted out of this in particular that we can be sure we address before?
I guess pretty much the same thing. I'm trying to figure out how to just kind of connect, with people on the internet. I've did, giveaways. I've did Facebook boosting of different advertisements, but a lot of people saying that people switching to Instagram and pictures and things like that. And I don't really have any fun insurance pictures.
Lots of car crashes.
I'm
Right.
sure you do. Just are you allowed to show them?
Yeah.
Right.
That's funny. All right, Christine. Everybody knows you, but
I'm Christine with the Covington Business Council. I'm the manager of operations, so I handle all of our events and sponsorships and anything operational, which is pretty much a little bit of everything. I try to stay away from our social, but that sounds horrible. We just hired somebody within the past month or two she's in charge of the social, but she keeps telling me post, because I'm more out in the community, whereas she does more of the like scheduled things. So that's where we're at. And I have a lot of questions that I don't even know that I have right now. So it was just funny because before the fear was always, you don't want to like replicate things or whatever. And Jen's like, that's fine. Just get stuff out there. You just need to be very out there. So I don't know, just any information you can give, really.
It kind of dovetails. I'll go to the Marilyn Baker. My business is Yankee Doodle Deli. Those of you may not know. Meet NKY just placed a nice order, so they know me, and they've ordered a number of pretzels for their out-of-town guests. But we are flavored pretzel business on Scott Street. So Jill does my email list now. We're trying to do them every 2 weeks just to consumers, because before COVID, my bread and butter was really wholesale accounts, all the breweries and bars and restaurants, coffee shops. That's where I really got my income. So now we're pivoting to more consumers and Thank a Hero program. And obviously now holiday gifts is going to be huge. So, but yeah, I have not done a whole lot with social media, but now I really need to. And so, some of my questions are what are some things you see, you experts see that drives you all crazy? People are doing like me that may not be right, or maybe.
Well, that's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah. What am I doing wrong? I always ask my friends to tell me, and nobody will. So.
That's a great question.
Okay, and then how to convert to sales? What turns off readers? What's the best way to engage people? Mm-hmm. And then what's the trend? I think Kaylin, you mentioned people are going to pictures and Instagram. Is it my age people are still on Facebook, or is that going away for all ages? And okay, so you've got half an hour to tell us everything you all know.
Just to be clear, Jamie only has about 15 more minutes. She has to hop on another call.
No.
So, why don't Jamie? Why don't you jump right in here and answer one of those questions for them?
Yeah, absolutely. So these are all really fantastic questions, and are normally the first round that we get when we have these conversations is, what do I need to do differently? What am I doing wrong? Why isn't this converting? How do I convert? And what do people actually want, right? And I feel like those are each of the key areas that you just mentioned, Marilyn. So social has exploded. Social's always been a part of our lives in the past 15 years. Like it started, I want to say in 2007, 2008, when things were getting started, there was only about 10% of Americans like flirting with it. And a lot of that was the college age students and the developers. And that point, we're now to, I want to say 80% of Americans are using social media. So in this short span of time, it's been mass adoption and use. And we've seen, especially at Scooter across our client accounts, that while social use has increased every single year over year, it has just exploded this year because everyone is at home. We're dealing with the pandemic. So when it used to be, you'd scroll through your phone because you had time in between meetings, or you're waiting in line to pick up your lunch or whatever it is. You're scrolling on your phone and you lose track of time because time is an enigma right now. Mm-hmm. So we're all just there for hours looking at things and hopping around, and we're spending more time online than we ever have before. And that is something that I don't believe many of these platforms anticipated. There's been a lot of bugs we've been dealing with. There's been a lot of updates. There's been algorithm changes. So there's been a number of things on the back end for us as content producers and schedulers and developers to adjust as well during this period. Because at first, when we were looking at content, a general rule of content is you want to be informational or educational, you want to be friendly, you want to be helpful, and you want to be engaging. So what's going to be, depending on your target audience, what does engagement look like? So for some brands, that's very snarky, and for other brands, it's being very, family friendly, forward, and for other brands, it's these beautiful food images. But what are those touch points? And that there's no one size fits all on that. So the first thing with anything on social is knowing who you want to reach, because that's how you're going to know what they're looking for, because you simply can't be all things to all people. That's impossible. As much as Facebook tries, it's impossible. Facebook was something that was mentioned, is still number one. That is the most used platform in regards to profiles, engagement, messaging, and things like that. YouTube is also, that's the number one search engine in the world. And I think people forget about that with Google. We just think Google. But videos are the highest consumed content online right now. Videos are important, and I recommend, if you're not experimenting with them, to start. And it's not that you need a full production crew or a ton of budget behind it. It can be short form videos that you film on your smartphone, just to try some things out, to see what things, how things perform. You can create ads for video views, and try a series of different things. But video is definitely something to dip your toe into if you're not doing that already. But YouTube, yeah, that is a platform. You have to have consistency. If you're not creating video on a regular basis, that's going to be an account that's slowly going to just peter out for you. It's not going to be a high traffic. So that's another thing I like to bring up, is you don't have to be on every single platform. There's too many platforms to count. There's no way I could list all of them. So I would just really focus on the big ones that have the largest audience traction. So that's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, if that makes sense. That doesn't make sense for every brand, but for many brands, and with this being the Business Council, please be on LinkedIn. That's super important. And Twitter can be hit or miss for audiences. It really depends on your target. So only about 20% of Americans use Twitter on a regular basis. 80% of that is really affluent millennials. So if that's a target audience, I would recommend being on Twitter. If that's not a target audience, think about what are community hashtags that are used, and maybe that makes sense. But looking again, who are you trying to reach? Who do you want to talk to? Who do you want purchasing your products? Who do you want showing up to your meetings or events or things of that nature?
I have a question. What was the hashtag? Twitter's millennials. And then what did you say after that?
Oh, just have an idea of what community hashtags are being used. So for us in Covington, Love the Cov is something that we should search to see what people are tagging. Where are they going? What are they associating with that hashtag? Is it locations? Is it restaurants? Is it beeline locations? Is it the public arts that are out there? Cincinnati has hashtag Cincy USA is another one. And those aren't the only community hashtags, but just to be aware of what your regional pool is. So there is NKY has this, is another one, and just looking for those. And those are really easy search terms. You can go in Twitter and type in Kentucky and it'll pull up some hashtags or things, or NKY. And these are also used across Instagram as well as LinkedIn.
So we should be using those. Pretzel business or an insurance business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a Cincy Eats hashtag. Just jumping on Jamie's thing, like if you pull up Instagram and you type in, when you're searching for hashtags, and you type in what you're searching for and you select tags, and it will show you the tags. Like if you put in Cincy, it'll put up Cincy Eats, Cincy Drinks, Cincy and Fall, or whatever. That's actually Fall and Cincy. And then it'll show you how many people are using those hashtags. Like there might be 200,000 uses of a hashtag. You don't want to use one where there's 500,000 or more, because your content will get lost.
Yeah.
You want to use a hashtag that has below 500K, and even below that would be good. Like Love the Cove, I think, has 50,000, or maybe it's more now.
It's
That's
a little bit more than that, but not much more. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but
no, that's great.
No interruption at all.
Yeah, so those are really helpful. Hashtags on Facebook haven't really picked up. They're there and they're not there. There's not a lot of consistency. So I don't see the need to necessarily use them, but definitely on Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn, as you're looking at what your core content is, what makes sense.
Great advice. Thank you.
Yeah,
I don't use hashtags very well. I mean, I use Pretzel with a purpose. I mean, I have a few that I use, but
yeah, and there's some people who use like 50 hashtags on their post, and that's really a lot. And like Dot said, if you're using a hashtag that a million people are using, you're just going to get lost in the shuffle. That sweet spot for hashtags tends to be between like 10 and 15 hashtags per post.
Okay, wow.
Once you go beyond that, then it's just kind of noise. And it's not that it's wrong, but just best practices, try to focus on the ones that are really going to be worthwhile and bring a real audience to you, and not get lost in a hashtag that's just exploded because of some trend or pop culture thing.
Yeah, although I have to add right now, this is like for future reference, because currently, because of the election, Instagram is not showing hashtag content by date. It used to be that you would put in Love the Cub and it would show all the most recent posts using that. They took that away.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want people scamming hashtags during the election. So now it just pulls up things in the list of most popular. So the things that have been liked the most are what you see first when you research a hashtag. So like for you, Marilyn, if you use Cincy Eats or NKY Eats, if you have a smaller audience, it's not going to show yet on that, but it will later when they put recent back on, when they put the time sorted content back on.
Yeah.
So when people like that post, it kind of ups the popularity of that hashtag.
Yes, it's just that like some things, like for Love the Cub, some people have 700 likes on their post. So like that's going to pull up first, even though it's 2 years old or whatever. Right now, you can't sort chronologically, but I'm sure it's temporary. It's just because of the election.
So it's really important that I like posts that, that I physically like it, then, so it helps them.
Yes.
And in return,
yes.
I hope they do it for me. Okay.
And leaving a comment is even better.
Yeah, there are other things you can do to like those posts and help those posts get more impressions and make sure more people see them. So you can like them, you can comment, but there's also like a small ribbon in the right hand side just above their text, and that's a save. If you save someone's post, that also boosts their notoriety within Instagram. So that then there's almost like this secret point system. I don't know if you've seen The Good Place, like you get points when you get things. That's kind of like what this is for Instagram. If you save someone's post, they get more points in the secret system, and that just helps their account and also their content grow. So that's one that people don't do as often, because you're like, why do I want to save all this stuff? But if it's an account that you have customer loyalty to, or brand loyalty, or mission driven, saving it will help it go a long way.
Where does it save to?
You then have an archive within your account that you can go in and create categories. So I have one for like hairstyles, and I have a teacup chihuahua. So I have like a small dogs thing that I have a ton of saved things on dogs. And yeah, so it's your own personal library at that point that you can go back and reference and be like, oh yeah, I did like this. Where was this event? And you can go back and look in your history.
That's great. It's like Pinterest.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we need something else to do, Jamie. Thanks.
Yeah.
So when I post from my phone, it'll say save to face, or post to Facebook, post to Tumblr, post to Twitter. I don't know what Tumblr is. I never do that, but I do have it go ahead and do Facebook and Twitter when I do my Instagram. I mean, I just slide the little slider over. But, so it'll have the hashtags. Is that a waste or?
So generally posts will perform, they will have a stronger performance if you're posting natively within the platform. There's not, when you post to Instagram and send it to Facebook and Twitter, Twitter's not really going to perform that well, because it's just going to be an Instagram link and whatever. That just doesn't, Twitter, the life of a tweet is about 18 minutes. So once it's out there, that 18 minutes past, it's essentially dead. And so you can repurpose your content. That's the great thing about scheduling tools like a Hootsuite or something, so that if you have something that you're pushing out once, if you can find, which of course you can, 6 different ways to say it or present it and share this image, and you shared it Tuesday at 3, and then you shared it Saturday at 1, and then you share it the following Wednesday at 9 a.m. to see when people are on. You're hitting different audiences and different engagement times. But yeah, posting, I understand the need for efficiency and streamlining. So scheduling tools, the main thing is consistency. But in general terms, posting directly within the app, Facebook really prefers when you post from Facebook. That's going to help get more eyes on your post. And they have Creator Studio, which can help as far as scheduling. And they also have post scheduling directly within your timeline. So whatever you're most comfortable with there.
But for Instagram, it feels like to me when I look at somebody's Instagram, I see all their stuff, and if it seems to me like I wouldn't want to post the same thing again and again, same image again and again, because it would be really obvious. Okay.
Instagram's a little bit different. Okay. Instagram is like, you may have some similar copy or similar messaging, but you need those different visuals, and they need and you need to think about what it's going to look like in a grid.
Yes.
So when I'm thinking of Instagram strategy, I'm thinking in 9 image blocks, because I don't want them to be touching something that's too similar. That's going to look like I'm duplicating content.
That's great. Yeah.
Jamie, I know you have to go, so thank you so much for hopping on here.
Oh my gosh, very
helpful. Your wisdom.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. These are all really great questions. Zach will share my email address with you all, so if you have follow-up questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. But it was great to see all of you.
And hopefully we can come back on again and talk to everyone too. And I'll stay on here for several more minutes, and I can help answer some questions. It won't be as good as Jamie, but I can share some of my knowledge too.
Well, and Dot too. Dot, you.
Yeah,
I know. Thanks.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you so much, Jamie.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Happy.
Oops.
Dot, I love the pictures at Meet NKY. Everything you all do.
They're gorgeous.
Oh, thanks. Thanks so much. It's mostly I re-grant a lot of content from our, all our partners. But we take a lot of photos too that we put up there. And then to get back to your first question though, about what irritates you, like what do I see that brands do that not irritates, but that I wish I could help them with. One of the things is I would like to say, if you're understaffed, pick a social media platform that you love, if it's Instagram or whatever it is, and then post to it consistently and develop it. Like often places don't have the staff to, especially with Twitter. Twitter is, like Jamie said, it's a niche audience. It's a very active audience, but it's a small audience. So you really need to have enough staff to run a successful Twitter, because you have to tweet every day, at least several times a day, to get any traction there. So if you love Facebook, or if your audience is on Facebook and that's all you have time for, do Facebook. Although I would add the caveat that you have to pay on Facebook for anyone to see your content. Instagram is better because so far Facebook is not throttling your content to the degree it does on Facebook. For example, if you put something on your Facebook and you don't pay as a business, almost none of your followers are going to see it. But you can post things to Instagram and your followers will see them. They're better about it on Instagram. So that's one thing, is I don't see brands sometimes posting consistently to a platform. The other thing would be the hard sell. Sometimes people are always using social media to sell their services or products, which of course is what you want to do. I mean, you want to get the word out about what you have. But what Jamie said earlier in terms of you want to primarily inform people, like share interesting, informative content or entertaining content. Things that like you respond to as a viewer of social media, that's what you want to put out there for the people you're trying to reach. Interesting stories locally. I mean, it just depends on what the brand is. Like if it's food related, like Marilyn's, then interesting food content, not just about pretzels, but about whatever locally that her audience might respond to. So that's just some thoughts off the top of my head about that.
That's great.
And I'll add that you are all experts in what you do, right? Kaylin, you're an expert in insurance. So some of the ways you can look at how do you want to use this to try to get some ROI, right? Well, be an expert and explain to people, whether it's LinkedIn, maybe you do an article on LinkedIn, here's 5 tips for a specific kind of insurance, or maybe it's a quick video showing, easily explaining a specific type of insurance that maybe it could be difficult to some people, but you explain it in a simple way. And those are ways that you can gain traction, I think, with your specific industries, which can kind of be niche too, So I think when you think of it like that, what are your strengths as a company? What are your strengths as a marketer or a person? And how can you show that?
Yes,
think,
absolutely. What you know about.
I had one question I would have is, I guess I was told that, as an insurance agent, that on social media, I should show people that, I'm trustworthy, as far as, protecting assets and, I'm a likable person, because a lot of people, they can just, go online or, you know, do things like that to purchase insurance. And it's like, okay, now why go to Kaylin or, why use any insurance agent for that matter? It's like, well, Kaylin's a nice person. He's easy to talk to. He explains these things, he's a family man. He does this, he does that, and I just, I want him as my agent, because he understands me rather than, because I have low rates
Yes,
or
I agree. Like people want it's social media. I mean, people say this all the time. They want to feel like there's a real person on the other end. And the more you can let your personality or voice show, the more you'll connect with people, the more they'll feel connected to you. I mean, it's a little trickier when you're in something like insurance where you also have all this detailed information you want to get across to people that's not full of personality. But I think that's a really good advice they gave you.
right. I did want to do, I was on a borderline of trying to do like maybe like a live video, just to explain, some insurance terms and things like, because a lot of people don't know, and I'm nervous about it because, yes, I consider myself an expert, and yes, I have a lot of information, but at the same time, I don't want to, I don't never want to tell anybody any wrong information because that could come back on me. And it's like if you put something out there and well, Kaylin said it was this, and I have a video of him showing this, and I listen to him and he, so I've been kind of teetering, like, do I really want to do that? Because that's all it takes is one, error and omissions. And that's
I
it.
would think that what I would like to hear from an agent is that not so much if I'm having a conversation with my agent, I want to hear the details about my specific situations. Right. But I would think in general, I would like to hear that you're there for your people. You could say, I'm standing outside the collision place where my client's car just got towed and I was here and I would personally came and looked at their stuff, and that's what I'll do for you too. Just super quick like that, we're not, or, it's been tough because I normally meet with new clients at coffee shops and, talk about their situations. And I really like to get to know you personally, but hey, I'm still available via Zoom, or just real quick stuff that says like, this is the way that I act. I'm there for my people and I want to get to know you personally. That's what would make me call you as opposed to get it online or call somebody that I don't know. So I think it's less, I think that's the idea about, or Zach, I'm sorry, which one of you guys said about the LinkedIn article is totally perfect. That's the expert showing your expertise, but I think the other part of it, the human part of it is why you specifically. I'm already assuming that you know the answers because you're a professional. I already assume that. So now why you compared to somebody else who also knows the answers?
Right.
And that reminds me, so I worked in college athletics for 12 years, and I managed a lot of the PR and communications for some football programs. And some of the top videos, top engagement, top social media we would get were behind the scenes videos. So showing, like when you mentioned him, being out at the collision and showing that reminded me of, here's the locker room, here's guys getting ready, here's the stuff that people don't typically see. And maybe it's like, here's how we make our pretzels, right? Like, here's behind the scenes, like decorating the pretzels, and this is how we do it. Here's behind the scenes at the office, little things like that. People will then feel part of the community, right? Like you're giving them something people typically don't see. They're special. And that may want them to come back, right? They're going to be like, oh, that's cool. He's showing us something. They're like a VIP, right? I feel like a VIP. I'm seeing something that not everyone gets to see, and that may make them want to come back.
I think that's really good, especially with a small business, Marilyn, like yours, where, if they, a video how you make your pretzels is going to look dramatically different from how Lay's makes its potato chips, which is these giant machines and billions of people in masks and hazmat suits and, you know, all that stuff. And yours is like, it's me and my 2 employees, and here we're making the pretzels, you know? So it's very much like, oh, I just want to support Marilyn. You know, I want her pretzels. So I think that's right. Zach's like, point about making them feel special. It's not just that I see now behind the scenes, but it's also that I see you are different from these other bigger organizations and why I want to meet you.
And with that, like, people may ask questions, you know, try to engage with people in the Facebook comments, in the Instagram comments. Anytime they ask you a question, make sure you timely get back to them. And that's where you kind of have to, it's kind of a 24/7 thing, right? But you guys all work with small businesses and stuff. That's how it goes. So just making sure that you're able to do that in a timely manner. People appreciate that too. And we run we work with several accounts, several small businesses, and we help them with that too. And we're on the phone, like with a client, hey, someone sent us a direct message in Facebook asking a question about this. We want to get them an answer back quick. So that's just a big thing, is being timely and engaging with your customers. Which, Dot, I'm sure you would agree, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I recommend engaging with everyone unless they're, you know, using foul language or like, even if it's negative, sometimes we get negative comments, and if the person seems reasonable, I'll engage with them. Because you're not only engaging with that person, but you're engaging with everybody who's watching the conversation. And so you're getting your message about who you are as a brand out to more than the person you're talking to, but also you're getting it to the person you're talking to, which is important.
So if they're unreasonable, do we ignore them? We have somebody that always trolls us and always comments negatively. I say always, not, you know, but it's always the same guy. Yeah. And he asks either like ridiculous questions or just says like ridiculous things. And I typically ignore him.
I would hide his comments if that were.
Can I do that? I was wondering if I should do that or not.
Yeah, absolutely. We have some people that troll the Beelines page and go on rants about how alcohol is the devil's water, and we have this one guy who pops up every now and then. And I don't know how he's seeing our content, because we have it set up so that it's not shown to people that haven't expressed an interest in alcohol. But anyway, maybe his friends share it to their pages. And I just hide his comments now, because I think the very first time he said something, I responded with, you know, this is an account for people who enjoy this, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. We realize not everyone is, or we realize there are social problems with it. And we acknowledge that, but this is for people who enjoy it responsibly. But then he kept commenting, and I thought, oh, this is just a troll. So I just hide his comments. I think I don't think you can ban people from a business page anymore. You used to be able to. But when you hide their comments, they can see it, their friends can see it, but no one else can. And they don't know that you've hidden their comment. So that's generally what I do. I delete it and I report them if it gets really ugly, which I think we've only had happen once. Like if they get threatening or.
Oh, wow.
So, and I have another question too. And that was very helpful, Doc, because I've struggled with that, you know, and even when Jen started, she texted me, she's like, what do I say? I'm like, I just ignore them. I'm not really sure what we're supposed to do, you know? So you mentioned video. At the CBC, I mean, you know, what we do is networking and stuff. And one of the programs that people enjoy is they're called hard hat tours, and it's where you get like a behind the scenes tour of a local business that's going up or being built. So like we were supposed to tour John R. Green in early December. Well, we can't get people together now, so we can't do that. So we've toyed around with doing a video tour. But everybody was so afraid, you know, oh, it's going to be on an iPhone. Is it going to be shaky? And are you going to make people dizzy by turning? And, but, you know, at the same token, like we can't afford to go out and get a video crew. So what are your thoughts on that? I mean, I would still like to be able to highlight these places, and, you know, we actually have sponsors for these events. So, you know, it'd be nice to still have them. But what are your thoughts as far as that type video?
Well, I'll answer, but then I think Jill should too, because she does those amazing videos of the buildings. But I think you should try to make the video with a phone. there are things you can get to hold the phone that steadies it, that in your hand, even like as you carry it around. I don't know if you guys have the budget for that, but try to make a video. If you feel it doesn't look good or you hate it, then if it were me, I would take a bunch of great still photos. And then you can make a video from still photos, or you can make one, or you could write like a blog article about it and put it in your newsletter. I'm not sure if this is the blog. I think you guys do.
We do, and if you ever want to put anything in it, Jen is really trying to up our blog. I think Zach's gonna put some stuff in it for us. But yeah, you guys, I love a lot of your material, and like I've been sharing even on my personal page, like you did that holiday gift guide. So if you want to share that stuff with us as well,
awesome.
Yeah, we're happy to do a blog post about it, or a special guest type thing. But yeah, that'd be great.
Okay,
Just
cool.
reach out anytime you have.
But Jill,
I mean, you always have it though, it seems.
Yeah, we will though. That's great to know. Jill, do you
Yeah.
use a professional video? I assume you guys do when you make those.
Yeah, we use Valair Studios. They're CBC members, but there's a cost. We have a deal because we did 20 videos, but it's not nothing. So yeah, I mean, for us, it was absolutely 100% worth it because the Catalytic Fund is, positions itself as a very, very professional organization. It's almost like a bank, really. And so that's why we completely didn't even think about it. It was absolutely a necessity. But I think for the Hard Hat Tours, it's definitely a different kind of an experience. And I think I would watch it. I think it'd be
I
cool.
would too.
Yeah.
I would love to see. I love those things to see inside or behind the scenes, like Zach was saying.
Oh yeah.
That's
I'd be happy to do
great
your
content.
voiceover, Christine, if you want.
You could, what'd you say?
I can do your voiceover.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Jill's been
We could
doing
use-
those.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I can
good
do
to
shot
know.
list. I mean, I can do the whole thing for you if you want. For
Joe, you
nothing.
better be really careful what you volunteer for.
Now that my videos are all done, I've got time. So
Yeah.
No, you gotta help me. What do you mean?
well, I know I will do that. I think I can help her on Catalytic Fun Clock though.
Jill did a video for me, Kaylin. Jill did a video, 90-second video, just introducing our pretzels and just really fun and whimsical. Again, insurance wouldn't be that, but you two may want to talk about.
Yeah.
It's something I can
that'd be
send to potential clients, Kaylin. It's a 90-second cute little video.
Thanks. Yeah.
I'll just say, Christine, you can get those phone stands for under $100. They're like handheld ones, and you'll be able to kind of go like this with it, and it keeps it like so it's not erratic and going like that. And you even look at some of the lighting stuff too. You can get a little light clip for the top of the phone that'll be a world of difference. And sometimes, and this is for anyone too, the ring lights are you can get those for if you're doing your own video, kind of like selfie videos. You can get those set up, and those do a world of difference as well. And all that stuff is pretty cost effective.
Okay, cool. Thanks. I'll look into that.
I see all that out there, and I never know what's worth it. They vary in price, and they all look cool.
Yeah. And I mean, again, it's kind of how much do you want to put in, right? What I mean, is the ring light going to make a ton of difference? I mean, maybe, I don't know if it's going to bring in more customers, but it's going to make the quality of the video look better with the lighting. So.
Speaking of bringing in customers, Jill, we didn't get to your question. Do we have a few minutes left? Or did you want to end at 45 minutes, Christine?
Oh, it's whatever schedules allow.
Okay. If everybody can stay on it. Jill want to know how to convert readers to buyers.
Oh,
Yes, very much so. We have lots of followers, and I guess part of the reason why there's not an amazing conversion rate is because, as you're now telling me, hardly anybody sees them. But particularly with Instagram, because you can't put a link in every post, so they just have to go back to their thing. It's, I understand that it's not meant really for businesses, but we all use it. So is there any?
So are you asking how to convert the people on Instagram to clicking through to the web content?
Yeah, well, let's say, for example, my scavenger hunt stuff. I have pretty good followers that are actually, liking and all that and engaging in that way with it. But, I think I probably only made a couple of sales from it. I know only of one specifically, which is great. I'm not saying it's not great, but if I got a lot of activity and they clearly say on there the event name on every post, take the next step, It's kind of what
Yes.
yeah.
Well, conversion is the big, huge problem with social media. I mean,
Yeah.
like, it's great for brand awareness. It's great for getting the word out. It's great for updating news. It's great for building an audience who follows you and chats with you. But conversion is the big KPI that's harder to get to.
Yeah.
But what I would say, like, to use that example, is I would have mixed in some photos of like cool art that was involved, like on your Instagram.
There is.
There is, because I noticed a lot of the ones with the words that were really awesome, like James Bradley looking at his code book.
Yeah, that's all that I did. That was the whole thing.
Sometimes those don't perform as well on Instagram if there's
Okay.
text laid over it like that, as they do on other platforms. But I don't want to get too much into the weeds. Really, the main thing is to build an audience, to post to them consistently, and to in terms of Instagram, you put your link, and I think you did this in the bio, like the link is in our bio for the hunt.
Okay, so say that every time.
Yeah,
Probably
yes.
a good idea. Yeah,
Yes,
I didn't do that.
there's no harm in repeating yourself. Yes, on Facebook, you have to pay or people don't see it. Like we have, I think 25,000 Facebook followers. If I post something on Meet KY and I don't pay, 1 to 2% sees it. That's Facebook's down to only showing 2% of your following your content, unless if you post a joke, if you post humor, people will share it. Or if you post a really amazing photo, like an eye candy photo of the Roebling Bridge or something, and this is something Kaylin can use, the Business Council can use. If you post stunning photography, people will share it to their pages, and then Facebook will start showing your post to more people. The more people share and comment on your Facebook posts, the more Facebook then shows more of your followers what you've posted. So in addition to informative content, I always put in eye candy. I always put in jokes on the Beeline, because the bourbon jokes do extremely well. Like I'll get 50 shares on a thing I haven't paid a cent for, because it's just a joke.
That's great.
That can eventually lead to conversion, but it's an uphill struggle. That part of it is the struggle for everybody.
Would you say pay? You mean to buy an ad to promote?
To either buy an ad or to pay Facebook to boost the post, so that more of your followers will see it. It's this terrible, in my opinion, system that Facebook created, where if it used to be, if you followed a business or an event, every time they posted, you would see their update. Like they would say, this event has been changed to this date, and now you don't see it. The dirty little secret is you don't even see your friends' content all the time. Facebook doesn't always show you your friends and family either. But that's a separate issue.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Facebook's.
I've boosted posts. Now, what's the difference? Because it'll say views. It'll say like, okay, when I was doing my giveaway, it'll say you got 2,000 views and 800 some odd people reached.
Yeah.
Well, views is every time someone watches it. So like the same person might watch it 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
And then the reach is the individual accounts you reached.
And does that include the people who, like, if it came onto my feed, but I didn't go onto that feed that day, I would be considered to have been reached, but not, even though I actually didn't see it?
No. Reach is when somebody sees it.
Okay.
What do you mean, like stays on it or clicks like?
Or
How do they
No,
know
just if it's in your timeline and you scroll by it and you see it,
Okay.
you've been reached.
Okay.
Zach, what were you going to say?
Well, I was gonna say, like, there's no magic bullet for converting it. Obviously, I think focusing on how can we build this community, how can we be engaging, and it's focusing on that, and then hopefully that trickles out into people wanting to be a part of it, and then coming in and clicking and buying different things. That's kind of how a way I've always looked at it when dealing with clients and stuff like that.
That's good.
Yeah.
And I know too, like, stuff's always changing. Like Dot will tell you that, like, the algorithms are always changing. There's always going to be something new. Like TikTok is super popular right now too, and that's for that skews very young, but those people are going to get older too, and they're going to stay on TikTok if the government doesn't shut it down, right? So it's being flexible, it's being versatile, it's trying to, keep up to date on what the new trends are and everything. And I think Jamie brought up a good point too. Don't waste your time on stuff that you're not invested in, or that you're not going to be able to get a return out of. Like for Twitter, like she brought up a great point. There really isn't a lot of people on Twitter, but the people that are hyper into it. But I'm not sure it's going to drive sales, right? People are on there to read news, to argue with people, to maybe get that sort of thing. So maybe it's focusing more on Facebook and Instagram with those, And I do think video is going to keep continuing to be a popular trend, and I think it's going to be shorter video too, because again, we're talking about TikTok and how people like everyone's, they're on their phone, but they're just for a couple seconds, right? And they're scrolling through on to the next thing, So it's finding something that can capture someone's attention just for really a few seconds, and it's going to have a lasting impression, right? And it's trying to figure that out. So
Literally, when you say short, do you mean 10 seconds, 15, less?
sure, yeah.
Okay.
Dot, Dot, have you seen that too?
That shorter video performs better?
Yeah.
Well, it depends in our ads, and it just depends on the content. Sometimes a longer video is better. I tend to make all the videos that if we make one for Facebook to be under a minute, because the drop-off rate is usually people stop watching after 30 seconds or so. So in general, I would agree. Although Facebook always says you need to make this longer for better conversion, but I don't trust them because then I watch how many people watched how much of it.
Yeah.
And I think shorter is better.
We always, when I was working at the athletic departments, we rarely ever had a video over 1 minute long. It'd have to be like a special, like cinematic thing. But when we were just looking to drive, quick views, drive ticket sales, we were trying to keep it under 1 minute.
Yeah, I think that's a good rule of thumb.
Interesting.
And I think like look at too with like Instagram stories, like developing short videos for that sort of thing too. Because if you're going to go on Instagram, you've got to do part of the story. You've got to do some of the stories, and you've got to, in addition to the photo posts. So you got to do photos and video, and really just try to like go all in on that, if that makes sense. And Facebook too has the stories now as well.
Yes.
So little quick videos like that too.
Another little Instagram tip, I think especially for Marilyn, content like that is, and maybe Jill's as well. I don't know if you guys follow Delgado's Cannoli on Instagram, the local cannoli shop.
Yeah.
When they started their Instagram, they did a strategy of following a lot of local accounts and commenting on a lot of local content. I don't know how they have the time, and I don't think it's an automated thing. I think it's really a person doing it. Because then everybody who's looking at like Meet NKY's content often sees Delgado's Cannoli on the comments, put a little heart so then their brand is getting out there all the time. Like people are seeing that word all over Instagram because they're leaving comments all over. Now that's a pretty time consuming thing to do, but it just goes in line with my thing about being consistent, being super as active as you can be somewhere and be active all over it. Because then people see your name all the time. They start talking to you. They start learning about you, feeling connected to you. And
so when you say, sorry,
go ahead.
Like how many times a day should we post, or
it depends on the platform. On Instagram,
like Facebook.
If you can post daily to Instagram, that would be great. Oh, by the way, posting in the evening on Instagram, at least for our accounts, is where the people are. Facebook too. People check Facebook and Instagram after work. Lunchtime somewhat. On Twitter, I do a lot of lunchtime content, but we generally try to do Instagram and Facebook as late as possible, except on the weekend where people are more there, like at noon and in the afternoon.
And I would say kind of A/B test it, right? So like post on like 8 a.m. one day or 9 a.m. and then track how many people look at it, the views,
absolutely,
and then do it at a totally completely different time at night, another time, and kind of keep track of that stuff like you would for any other part of your business. And in addition to that, plan stuff out too, like sit down and make a calendar for, hey, this is what I'm going to do for December. these are all the posts I'm going to have for December, and plan it out. And obviously it's all kind of loose because different things can happen, but you have that roadmap, that framework to where like, this is what I'm going to do, and sit down and really like invest time into that. And that's where I think you can start to develop that community. If you put time into social like you do other parts of your business, I think that's how you can start to see some of those results.
Yes. Oh, also on Instagram, does everyone have an Instagram business account? Is your Instagram a business account, not a personal one?
I don't know.
If it's a business account, you can check insights. It's on your profile, it'll say insights, and then that will show you in the last 7 days, or you can set it for 30, I think, which posts the most people saw. It will give you some analytics on those posts. Like, so in fact, that's a great idea of like, you can test it out at 9 a.m. and then you can go see how well that post did. Although that post may have done better for other reasons like hashtags and stuff. So it's a little hard to track, but it begins to give you a sense of like when you get the best response.
Well, when I post my silly picture and if I'm holding the pretzels, I get a lot more than if I just post a picture of a store where I've just delivered pretzels.
Yeah, see,
I hate it. I'm not vain, but I get a lot more when it's my ugly mug.
that's great information to get. I mean, that's what you have to do, is test things out and see how people respond. Like I've noticed on our account, if I put people in the Meet NKY account pictures, engagement goes down. I do it anyway because I want to show people enjoying these local things. But I think it's because people are following this tourism account. They're kind of like, I don't know those people, you know. But in your case, it's like a small business owner. Here's this lovely small business owner with her product. So I can see that. It just depends on your audience.
I know, real quick, we got to watch our time. I heard, is it, when I respond to something, I kind of feel like it's sometimes a little trivial, but like you said, the cannoli guy does it, and I noticed he started liking my stuff right away. But is it, I mean, just to say, hey, cool picture, or love the Cub? I mean, that's just, it's okay to be a little trivial, just because I'm doing it to get my name out, but also to tell you I like it.
Yeah, I do it all the time, Miss Meet NKY, like, because I don't have a lot of time. But if I see an amazing picture, I'll put like a smiley with hearts, just to let the person know, wow, this is cool. Or I'll say, wow.
Okay.
Right. Okay, good. That's good to know.
And I heard something, it had to be 4 words or more. Have you all heard that? It helps the
No, I
post.
haven't. But that might be true now.
It could be true.
As Zach says, it changes all the time.
Yeah. Do you know 5 Star Media? Shannon from 5 Star Media? She had a workshop and she said 4 or more words. So don't just say beautiful, say that's a beautiful picture.
Okay, I gotta look that up.
We'll follow up. Yeah, let us know.
That could be that would make sense to me, because it shows that you're putting more time into it. I think you look at it like you're building this community and you're supporting other businesses, other friends, and hopefully they're going to then support you too, and they're going to see you more in this ecosystem of businesses that are on social media, right? So
yeah.
That's super helpful, you guys. Thank you so much.
Great. I feel like we covered a lot. Does anybody have anything else to add or any other questions?
I'll do it. I'll tag CBC and thank you for doing this. How about that, Christine?
Yeah, that's awesome. We'll tag all of you and then you can grade me and tell me how I did. Well, thanks again. And we will be in touch soon with more programs. And like I said, if you have any ideas for further things that we should do, please reach out and let me know, because, we want to do what people are interested in. So with that being said, have a great day and happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Caitlin. Nice to meet you.
Real quick,
yeah.
You asked me a question, Marilyn, early on, and my son came running to my mother-in-law over there, so I didn't get the answer. Jamie jumped in, but you asked why, what we were hoping to get out of this, and me kind of being newer to Covington and the area, the greater Cincinnati area, it's great for me to get to meet new people and to meet some of these new businesses, and it's great for me to then talk about kind of what we're able to do at Scooter Media. So I really appreciate, Christine, you and Jennifer inviting us on for this. And I hope that I was able to be of help. But I really wanted Jamie to get on here because she truly is the expert. I know she was only on for a little bit, but I hope you guys were able to gain something from that. And Dot, I learned some from you too there. And you guys were great. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I would like to echo that. We really appreciate you guys being on. I have a full page of notes that I plan to pass along,
You
and
did.
I feel like everybody was taking, yeah.
Right.
So thank you. We really appreciate it. It was definitely an hour well spent, and I love the open conversation.
Yeah.
Are you able, Christine, to
Great
share all of
format.
our emails with each other? Do you have it handy?
Yeah, if everybody's okay with that, I'll do that.
Christine, I'll send you Jamie. I'll send you Jamie's email too right now, right when we
Okay.
get off this.
Okay,
That's
great.
great.
Yeah, then I'll send out a follow-up.
Okay.
Well, thanks again, and thank you,
Thank
Marilyn
you.
and Zach
Thanks, Marilyn.
and Dot and
Yeah.
Jamie,
Thank
who's
you.
gone, but we really appreciate it.
Thanks.
See you later, Jill.
Thanks.
Thanks. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
Happy
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Happy
Bye.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you, everybody.